going into this in such poor league form, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Ruben Amorim's points per game ratio is 0.92. And just to put that into reference, it's just above Steve Keane's record at Blackburn. He got 0.9. It's just below Neil Warnock's points per game record in the Premier League across 4 different teams. And it's also one below Steve Cooper, who was involved in Nottingham Forest and Leicester relegation battles. So that goes to show how Ruben Amorim just hasn't got his Premier League form working. But the best stat, I think, is when you compare Amorim to Gary Neville's time at Valencia. These are we've compared the 26 league games that Amorim has faced, and we've compared it to the 28 that Neville had in all competitions. Amorim has actually lost more games than Neville. He's not got as many goals per game. He's conceded more goals, and he's not won as many games. So I don't know what that tells us too much, or whether Gary Neville was a little bit underrated compared to Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. But there you go. It sort of paints a picture of how poor Manchester United have been. In the
or how good Gary was.
Or how good Gary was, yeah.
Hope you're watching, Gary. But they're already looking to bolster the squad in the summer with Matheus Cunha.
Now, Matheus Cunha is set to really tackle an issue that Manchester United have had, particularly in the Premier League. These are the biggest XG overperformers. And what it says is Matheus Cunha has scored nearly 7 goals more than he should have done compared to XG. And that's the 3rd highest. Only Chris Wood and Brian Mbeumo have more. Now, when you compare that to Manchester United's woes in front of goal, they as a team have the 2nd worst underperformance. So they should have scored nearly 9 goals more than they should have done, but they've been wasteful. So what they're doing is they're bringing in one of the most prolific players in the Premier League in terms of goal scoring into their team of underachieving goal scorers. So that's the main reason why Ruben Amorim has decided to move for Matheus Cunha very, very early.
OK, the question is, though, where does he fit in at United?
Well, here's a really, really interesting fact. So Matheus Cunha doesn't play as a number 9. Vitor Pereira has said that. He's not a striker. He actually plays as a number 10 in sort of like on the left of the striker. Coincidentally, that is Bruno Fernandes's most common position under Ruben Amorim since he joined at United. Now, I say most common because Bruno Fernandes actually does play quite a bit, a little bit deeper, basically, in midfield. So are we starting to see the first signs of what Ruben Amorim will do next season at Manchester United? Cunha's not sat to be a backup to Fernandes. So is Cunha going to start in this sort of left number 10 role? Bruno Fernandes is going to play here, and then the striker is going to play there, and they'll probably be next to Manuel Ugarte, who, of course, worked with Ruben Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. So that's a little clue as to what he's doing. OK,
let's get back to talking about tomorrow's final. Rasmus Højlund, is he set to start up front for United?
Yeah, it's not very good. Unfortunately, his blank against Chelsea is the 10th game he's had without a shot this season. So that goes to show, you know, he needs to get his scoring boots, and that goes to show why maybe they're bringing Cunha into the team to sort of improve their shooting chances. So, yeah, unfortunately for Rasmus Højlund, it's really not clicking for him in the Premier League.
As for Tottenham, they're in equally bad form in the league, and they're missing key creative players.
Yeah, 2 big injuries, Dejan Kulusevski and James Maddison, 2 key number 10s. That means that it's nearly around about 30% of their chances created in all competitions this season are injured. So that puts a lot of pressure on Heung-min Son and Pedro Porro, for sure.
Yeah. As for Son, he returned to face Villa Friday, didn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately, not to great effect. Only 1 shot, but none on target, no chances created, no dribbles and crosses completed. So, you know, he's really, really struggling for form at the moment.
OK, that's it for the football show for today. Back tomorrow at 10 o'clock. But last time we'll see, Sam, thank you for all your hard work.
And you, Rob.
Over your time on the football show. Stay with us. Joe is here. Lunchtime Live is on the way. That's next. Another player you coached was Matheus Cunha, which I would think would excite Manchester United fans to hear the kind of inside track on him because he's Old Trafford bound at the moment. Yeah. Right, tell us about him, first of all, as a player. How good can he be?
I mean, he's got great potential. As you can see this year, I mean, we always knew, I mean, Julian always said, to be fair with him, that it would take a few months to adapt. It's not easy to come from a different background, different league, and then all of a sudden make an impact in the Premier League, and we've got great examples of all the great players that it took them a while to crack on with it. But finally, he's done so well, and you can see he's versatile. He can score goals, he can assist, he can play in different positions. When he gets the ball at his feet, he's got his acceleration to dribble and get the team up the thirds. I mean, I'm not going to discover Cunha right now. I think he's definitely a top player.
How much, though, of managing a player is not just developing him as a footballer, but developing him as a responsible player on the pitch? Let's put it that way, because there's always this argument, if you take that bit away from Cunha, will he still be the same player? Yet we've seen a couple of incidents this season where he hasn't done himself favours.
Yeah, but listen, when you are on the pitch, it's so difficult at times to have that sense of balance and you know, do the right thing at every single time. And obviously, all the cameras are on you. I mean, I bet that if all of us had the cameras on us 24/7 at home, there would be times where, you know, we would probably be thinking, I could have behaved in a different manner there. But altogether, I think he's a very professional player. I think he will do very well whether he stays in Wolverhampton or he goes elsewhere. That's obviously remains to be seen. And I wish him all the best. And to be fair, with us, he was a very important player. And people at first said, the price tag and the rest of it. But it's been proven that it was a great asset for the club. It's been a great asset for the club on the pitch. And so far, I think they've done really well with him.
Amazingly, two of the players that you mentioned from that Chelsea academy could well go head-to-head in the Europa League final in Mason Mount and Dominic Solanke.
Yeah.
So will you have a half and half scarf on? One side saying Dominic, the other one saying Mason. Does that give you great pride, though, to see that?
Yeah, of course. But ultimately, look, there's been loads of coaches through their journeys. Obviously, they've done it themselves. So it's not like, you know, I was just one coach in a very specific year in their careers. But of course, you always want all the coaches that you coach, all the staff that you work with to do well and to succeed and to get to the top. I mean, certainly that's always been my mindset. And yeah, it would be great if they both were on the pitch tomorrow.
And we touched on it, but let's finally go into it. What about your future? What do you do next? Manager, is that your next port of call? And where do you see yourself going in?
Definitely. I mean, the last 3 or 4 years I've been preparing myself to be a head coach. That's where I've always wanted to be. I've been patient to make sure that I would acquire the right skills and I would acquire the right knowledge and experiences. I do believe I do have them now. So it's time. It's time to get those roles. And obviously the market will dictate where you end up going. I mean, that's not for me to say. It's, you know, for someone there, a chairman, a sporting director, a club to decide whether, you know, I'm their profile. I mean, that's how it works. But certainly, I think I can do a good job in a club with a progressive mindset that they want to develop players while we are winning games, which obviously we are in a winning industry. And yeah, hopefully that happens.
Well, if it takes just one session for Julian Lopetegui to go, I like you, you're my man, then you can't fail, really. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you so much.
Gracias.
Moltes gràcies. De res, yeah. Perfect.
Phew, thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Now, Manchester United preparing for the Europa League final against Tottenham. They're travelling to Bilbao later today, but before that, they are training this morning. Let's go to Sani, who's watching this one live. Very good morning to you.
Good morning. It's absolutely glorious here. It hasn't actually rained in Manchester for 29 days now. But of course, the clouds over Carrington could lift if United bring back a trophy in Europa League. Yes, so training's happening just to our side here. And we've got some big news for you because there's been doubts over a couple of players. Diogo Dalot being one, but also Joshua Zirkzee, who we believe was out for the season with a hamstring injury. He's been training on his own individually. This is the first time he's back with the main group. So a bit of a boost for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United that Joshua Zirkzee could be one player in line for a place in the squad for the Europa League final tomorrow against Tottenham. Dalot, the other big doubt, he's been racing back to get fit as well. And other than that, it looks like we've got a pretty full complement other than Lisandro Martinez and Matthijs de Ligt, who's not available. He seems to have picked up an injury as well. So that is a bit of a boost for Manchester United fans, of course. This is a side that haven't won in 8 games now, 16th in the Premier League, 18 defeats this season in the league, the last one being that Friday night defeat to Chelsea. So the eggs are well and truly in the Europa League basket. Win tomorrow against Tottenham, and of course they're back in the Champions League as well. So these are big times for United, and huge for Ruben Amorim as well. They've decided, unlike Tottenham, by the way, to stick to their normal pre-European match routine. So unlike Spurs, who arrived in Bilbao yesterday, United are sticking to the normal routine. So they arrived at training this morning, going through the motions at the moment. They've got a full training session here before they head over to Manchester Airport for a 3 o'clock flight. And then Ruben Amorim is going to have a press conference at the stadium, Estadio San Mamés in Bilbao this evening, but not before the players have a bit of a stroll round the turf. And Amorim will be joined by Bruno Fernandes and Harry Maguire, 2 key players for this United side. But a boost this afternoon that United has some key men back. Joshua Zirkzee in amongst it, Lenny Yoro as well, Diogo Dalot, all it seems available for United ahead of tomorrow.
Wonderful. Thank you very
Compete. I felt that against Chelsea. When we are focused and play our game, we can control any game in any place. Amorim was then asked if he would be prepared to play a system without a striker, as had happened when United won the FA Cup last year. Our system is a normal system that can change the characteristics, he replied. It is a system like any other. It doesn't matter what happened in the last final because it was a different team, a different competition and a different context. I just focus on Tottenham and the way that they play. The next question was how big Amorim thinks the problems are at the club and how long it will take to fix them. I think it's hard to speak about that in this moment because we need to be excited and confident. But we already know the problems. There's a lot of things we need to change in our club. Recruitment, the academy, I think we need to improve. It's hard to pick one thing that will not be solved by winning a cup. For me, we have bigger things to deal to put this club back to the top. Tomorrow, it will be important for us, for our fans. Winning will give us the feeling that we have strength to do it. Tomorrow will be massive for us and our fans. The head coach was asked if he was relieved he was not in the same situation as tomorrow's counterpart, Ange Postecoglou, who said he might be sacked regardless of the result. Bruno Fernandes intervened. He is. Who told you he's not in the same position? He is. Amorim laughed. Fernandes wants my job. He'll be a very, very good coach. But he'll have to work on his mindset. He doesn't know how to deal with people. Allowing I don't know. In this kind of club, also Tottenham, it is strange that you have some coaches who lose games and get sacked. I think people see that sometimes I am thinking more about the club than myself.